Aloha, everyone. Welcome to the Aloha Friday with the Sandwich Island Social Network video podcast. Every Friday, we have some great conversations, interesting conversations with folks sharing their lives and journey that come from our island home, wherever they may be. The Sandwich Island Social Network is a nonprofit organization serving the Hawaiians and Hawaiians at heart away from their island homes. And we gratefully accept tax-deductible donations to support the work we do in the community. And you can go up to the top and you see on the upper right-hand side of your screen, sandislands.org, where you can find out exactly how you can support the work that we do. And so happy to have a very interesting conversation and a guest here today, and that is Mr. Roy Sakuma. He is in our green room right now, enjoying the sushi platter and the smoked marlin, and so we have spared no expense for our guests. And right now, please welcome to the Aloha Friday show, Mr. Roy Sakuma. Aloha, Roy.
Aloha. Yeah, that's great food. Thank you very much.
Now,
wonderful. Thank you.
So we have many hoonies that are behind me. You cannot see them. They're in the trees, okay? And so when we have our guests, they always do this. Okay. And then, Roy, this is traditional now, one of the many huni in the tree always has to blow what we call the Portuguese conch shell. There we go. You have just been welcomed. Hang on a second. There you go. So you have just been welcomed officially to the Aloha Friday show. Thank you so much for joining us there, Roy.
Thank you.
So, Roy, I gotta fly into Honolulu from Los Angeles. I just jump on the plane. It's the red eye, it's the one that flies overnight where you can sleep, and it gets into Honolulu. In the early morning, maybe about 7, 8 o'clock. I get my car, grab everything. By the time I'm ready to go, smoke in traffic on Nimitz. But I call you up and I say, Roy, Kamaka is hangry. I am past hungry. I am hangry. We go eat. I meet you someplace. Where we going to eat, Roy?
Oh, wow. That's a good one. That's a good one. Where are we going to eat? Well, I'll tell you what. If I have to pick my favorite places, I like the food like macaroni salad and
Yes.
rice and gravy and
Yes.
all these things.
Yes.
I love my wonton min.
Yes.
Stuff like that. A lot of times I would go to Rainbow Drive-In.
Rainbows.
Or I go to this hole in the wall on the Liho Street called Jane's Fountain. It's still there after all these years.
Ooh.
And when I go there, if I took you there, well, I would order the loco moco with the eggs, the macaroni salad, the side order toast, side order wonton min. And I'll tell you, it is so great.
Stop it. I'm drooling.
Yeah.
I'm drooling. So, a lot of these old hole-in-the-wall places, you remember when you could order saimin and then a teriyaki stick on it, on the side? They still get?
Yeah. Not there.
Oh.
But there was another place that had the teriyaki stick. It was on Dillingham Boulevard, but I can't remember the name of the place.
Oh.
It's really, really popular.
That's.
I know that's like a nice snack. We used to go there late at night for a night to cap off the evening. But if you're coming into town and you're hungry, then I gotta take you someplace like Rainbow's Drive-In or Jane's Fountain where you can just feast on all the food. Yeah.
Jane's Fountain sounds good. Oh my goodness, Jane's Fountain.
I should have my phone because I have a picture of what I order.
Oh. You get your regular. We used to go. Yeah. After Paul going to the nightclubs when I was growing up, we hit Leaky Drive-In, right?
Oh, that was great too. Yeah, Leaky Drive-In.
The owners, James Nako and his wife, I forget her name. Was it Alice Nako, if I'm not mistaken? were family friends of my parents, and so we would always go. And even though I was, if even late at night, because they were open, I think they're open 24 hours if I remember. Because late at night we still can get big bowl Simon, and that was a hangout over there.
That was a great time. Those were great times. Great times. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um, and then, of course, right up on that plane, they had what is it, Scotty's, that drive-in, Scotty's,
Scotty's, yep.
right?
Scotty's,
I,
yep. Scotty's driving, right?
I used to cut
Used to
out.
go there a lot too.
I used to cut out from school, Roosevelt High School, which by the way, you and I were talking. We're both Rough Riders.
Yeah, but the thing is, you graduated, so
Oh.
congratulations.
Okay. No, so no, we had a lot of friends that are jumping in, so I want to acknowledge and they want to say hello to you too, Roy. Here's Kay Bennett. She's saying aloha. Right here is Auntie Hetty. Auntie Hetty Harrison. And Duha, aloha kamaka. I am on waiting for Roy Sakuma. Who else we have over here coming up? Oh, they're all popping up here. Here's Mr. Marty Burns. Aloha Friday Kako. He got his shaka sign. What's up, brother Marty? They all jumping in. These are all folks who live right here in Southern California. Really excited. Here is Mary Windsor. She says, yay, Roy Sakuma from Maryland, Hashisaka.
Oh,
Oh, there you go. And it's all coming in really, really fast. Here is Auntie Hetty. She says, aloha, Roy. Haven't seen you and Kathy in many moons, but always remember our great experience at the 2004 and 2010 ukulele festivals.
wow.
Ah.
Thank you.
uh, and let's see. Oh my goodness, we have so many folks want to jump in. Oh, Mario Weiser says you got to go Boulevard Simon, and that's another place.
That's right. That's right. You're right. You're right.
Boulevard Simon. Oh, I'm all salivating already at a place over here. Here's a good friend of us who lives here in Anaheim, California. Nancy Lewis. She goes, "You're making me hangry." Let's see. Oh, Bruce Schifrin says aloha. There's Bruce saying aloha to you. And there is Keone Young. Oh, were we not just talking about Keone Young?
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know if you remember, he's saying, wasn't Roy in our same class 64 grad? Right in there. Keone Young is an actor, a voice actor, and an actor. Very proud of Keone from Roosevelt High School. That's my brother. That's my brother. Here it says Lauren Sandra, Lori Barang. She says aloha.
Wow. Sorry. Wow.
Yeah. She's here in Southern California with us too. The comments are coming in real fast, Roy. I don't want to miss anyone. Here's C Honda. She's saying, how's it, Kamaka and Roy? Aloha, C. Good to have you. And here is Patricia Quijano. Patricia Quijano, if I'm pronouncing the last name. She's saying, happy Aloha Friday. Welcome, Patricia. And one more. And then, hi from Bob Dowell, Elizabethtown, Kentucky. Whoa,
Wow.
welcome. welcome. Okay, so if I missed anyone, ikalamai, sorry. I tried to get to everyone. Bruce is from Southern California, and I think I pretty much got anyone. If I missed you, I'll try to circle back. But thank you so much, all of our ohana out there, for joining us for a little talk story here with Roy Sakuma. And we one of the things I really enjoyed about your story, Roy, is the fact that early on you came across a piece of music that just kind of stayed with you for a very long time, and it was a song that was by Otasan, and
Yes.
that song stayed with you for a number of years, and it was it. Would you say it was the song that uh, caught your ear? And I want to play it just for this. Ah, wow. So, Roy, when you hear this song, what goes through your mind when you hear Otasan playing this song?
Well, when I first heard that song, and what's interesting is I never listened to the music when I was young because of my upbringing, so I never listened to the radio. But at that age, at 16, when I was in a friend's car, that song came on the radio, and the name of that song is Sushi. And what caught me, it was the rhythmic of the rhythm that Otasan had used to play this song Sushi. It was like a bossa nova beat, and it was so captivating to me. I couldn't wait every day to listen to that song. And I fell in love with that song. And I think that was the path that eventually it actually led me to the ukulele and how it transformed my life because I was really a lost child, kind of like a rascal, a rascal that didn't have any focus on the future. That song changed everything for me. Yeah. That song, eventually, there was a little ad in the classified section saying, learn from Otasan. I immediately called him, scheduled an appointment to meet him, and asked if he would please teach me. And that was the beginning of my lifelong journey with the ukulele. And I really thank Otasan for being one of the mentors in my life because not only did he teach me the ukulele, but being a former Marine, he taught me discipline, which I really needed. So it was two ways teaching me music, but teaching me discipline. Yes.
Wow. Yeah,
Mm.
and that was very unusual because that song by Otasan, Sushi, that thing was number one, the number one record. In fact, as I was looking, it was even featured with Dick Clark on American Bandstand. Um,
Yes, you're right. It was number one in Hawaii on the radio station. It was on Dick Clark's American Bandstand. It was climbing up the chart and getting really close to the top 100 in Billboard. But what happened, if you remember, around that time, there was this group from England that came out called the Beatles. And
how,
they had
how
their very,
dare? How dare? Who do they think they are?
that
So,
song shaped Otosan's future. And what a lot of people don't realize is this. Otosan was not just a great ukulele player. He was a master musician. There's a difference there. And maybe later on I can explain that. And one of the reasons that is a credit to his lifelong journey is that he has recorded almost just about 80 albums worldwide with the
wow.
Paris Symphony, in Japan with the orchestra, doing every genre of music that you can think of. He played it on that small ukulele. That is amazing. Hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
Mhm.
Here is another Roosevelt. Roosevelt, this is Rodney Akoni Apana, class of 68 from San Diego. He is originally from Paoa Valley. What's up? Rough Riders in the house. Keone Young says Otasan went to New York and hung around jazz musicians just to learn the genre of jazz. He could play it on his ukulele. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Very, very interesting. So at some point, at some point, you were teaching ukulele, and as you were doing that, you made a discovery. What did you discover about yourself playing the ukulele, and you were teaching some of Otasan's classes, right?
Well, he went to Japan and he asked me if I could come back because he had already told me to go on my own to find my own destiny on the ukulele because I wanted to become a performer. I wanted to actually, in my secretly, top Otasan. I wanted to be better than him. But the funny, and I practice 8, 10 hours a day.
Wow.
The interesting thing is, the more I learned about the ukulele, and this is honest, I realized how great he was. So rather than catching him up, I was going further and further apart because I started to realize how great he was. And the beautiful thing is when he went to Japan, he asked Roy, can you just teach my classes for a couple of weeks? And I was scared because I never taught in my life. But I said, okay. And when he went to Japan, I would practice hours and hours every day, talking to the wall as if I'm talking to students. So by the time Saturday came and I had to teach his adults, I was perfectly comfortable. And I just had a great time teaching them. And thankfully, when he returned from Japan, he asked me, Roy, how did you like it? And I said, I loved it. And that's when he said, would you like to teach my students? If you want to, you can take over my classes. All you do is take care of the rent. You can have my students. And naturally, I accepted right there on the spot. And that's how I got into teaching at the young age. At that time, I was about 19 years old. I started teaching. And that became my lifelong love is teaching the ukulele. I love teaching. At that time, it was primarily adults, but I love teaching children. And I found out that I could teach children as young as 4 years old. One
Wow.
in 1985 became recognized as the super child of the world. And I had a lot of other young children that were recognized as super talented kids. And then I found this out that when you have a love for teaching, there's no barrier with anyone you teach. I can teach senior citizens, anyone. I know I can teach them. All I have to do is watch them play, and I can figure out a way to help them improve their playing. Yeah. Mhm.
Wow. Let's take a look at this right here.
Hi! Yeah, you so good. Whoa!
Cute. Kawaii, kawaii. Cute, cute, cute.
Yes, yes. By the time that boy was 8 years old, um, I could play with him and he could actually improvise. He could improvise. He's not taught where to put his fingers, but he listens. And I play the rhythm and he'll just go all over the ukulele and he's just feeling where to go.
Wow.
He was incredible at 8 years old. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I had one of the great guitarists, jazz guitarists, listen to that video that someone shot of he and the little boy playing together. We playing together, and he says he listened for 10 seconds. He says the kid got it.
Wow.
The kid
Wow, wow,
got
wow.
it. Yeah.
Here's
Mhm.
Auntie Hetty reflecting on your comments on Otasan. She says Otasan is a musical genius.
Yeah.
Indeed. Yeah. Um, and then C Honda is watching you with the youngsters saying amazing, amazing. And then a good friend of ours, Tyra Abraham, says Aloha Kamaka and Roy. Aloha Tyra. Thanks for joining us. Our guest is Roy Sakuma today on the Aloha Friday show. So early 70s finds you with you have a day gig. You got this. You're teaching, but you got a day gig, if we call it, uh, and you are at what Kapiolani Park. Are you employed by the city and county? What are you doing in the early 70s as you
Actually,
your side gig here?
well, actually, teaching was just a side,
Oh, that's the
and
side. Okay.
my father said, "Get a job. Will you get a job?" So I went to apply for the city and county, and the only job I qualified for was parkskeeper because I had no education.
Mhm.
And I barely passed the strength test. I barely made it. And so when I got hired, my job was to clean the restrooms and the park at Kapilani Park. And so I would do that every day, clean up things. And, I was so happy to be working. It didn't matter what the bosses told me to do, I would just do it. I wouldn't ever say, that's not my job, though. That was a blessing because what's interesting, at 21 or 22 years old, despite my young age, I was called into the office with the director of the Parks and Recreation, the director, and they said, we're promoting you to a senior grounds, you're going to be a supervisor. And naturally, I turned it down because everybody else has 20 years experience. But they said, no, you're going to take that job. And I was able to relate to these older people and have them trust me. It was at that time when I was sitting at lunch and I looked at the bandstand and I said, my dream is to put on an ukulele festival. And someone
Ah,
close to me, who I did not know at that time, said, dreams come true. And then I started my pursuit to go to the city and county and find out, how do I put on an ukulele festival? And with the guidance of a gentleman named Moroni Maderas, who actually many of you may know in California years ago, he put on the Ed Parker karate tournament in Long Beach, California. He and Ed Parker were good friends. And if you remember Ed Parker was really close to Elvis Presley because Ed was Elvis's karate instructor. Well, anyway, with the help of Moroni, I put on the first annual ukulele festival, and the rest is history. We are thankful that it went on for years and years and years and years. And my dream came true. My dream was to spread the joy of the ukulele around the world because back then, hardly anyone played the ukulele. But it went around the world, and I'm very thankful for that. So, all of you out there that play the ukulele, continue to play it and teach others and share your music with others because really the ukulele is one of the gifts of music to everyone.
beautiful. Here is the poster from the first annual Ukulele Festival, 1971, Kapi'olani Bandstand. Take a look at the folks that you had on there. My goodness. Um, I see Eddie Bush, Eddie Kamai, Jesse Kalima, who is my cousin actually. With what was his
Wow.
group? The was it 10,000 pounds? What is it? What did he call his group with his?
I can't remember, but yeah, something
thou-
close.
1,000 pounds of a law or something because he was
Yeah.
really heavy set. And Gordon Mark just passed away recently,
Yes,
right?
going to pass away. Yes.
Yeah, and I see Myrtle K. Hilo, classic poster here. That's such a
And
treasure.
David Hulehua, he
Yeah.
was the first captain of the Hokulea.
Oh, Captain
Mhm.
Dave. Yes, Captain Dave. Oh my
Yes.
goodness. Look at
Uh,
that. That is an amazing poster there, kind of just etched in time. 1971, the very first ukulele festival in the world. And that's why I heard Jake Shimabukuro call you the godfather of ukulele festivals. He says that's Roy Sakuma. He is the godfather of ukulele festivals. Um, Here's a clipping. Oh, I love this. Look at this. This clipping from the Star Bulletin, where some youngsters have, and this one is the fifth annual as we move forward. And uh, that's a picture of you on the left hand side with a young Dean Sale, 5 years old, playing. Look how cute.
that little boy became a just an amazing ukulele player. Um, by the time he was 8 years old, he could play standards. I mean,
Wow.
standards with all the chords inside,
Uh huh.
and he played it beautifully. He
Oh
really
my.
loved the ukulele. So he was one of the gifted children that I was able to help and work with. And so they were all great, though. I mean, I loved all the kids. It was just great. And I want to share one thing, Kamako. All the
Yes,
musicians
please.
we've had over the years, we've had just about every well-known musician in the state of Hawaii come to the Ukulele Festival. And one of the beautiful things that I really want to express to all the musicians is that from that first annual Ukulele Festival, when I approached Eddie Kamai, Eddie Bush, and all these players, I told them my passion about presenting a free ukulele festival where everything is free, there is no charge. And I asked, could they help and support this event and play for free because there's no charge. I wanted to keep the festival free, where families could bring their whole families to the event. And for 52 years that my wife and I held the festival, 52 years, all the entertainers donated their time. And we had some giants come to our ukulele festival. You think of Keali Reichel, and years back, CNK came. Oh man, the list goes. Jack Johnson, they all came, but they understood the mission that my wife and I had. It was to spread the joy of the ukulele, and they all came, and we're thankful for that. In fact, one of the great entertainers nationally was back then in 1990s the most nominated Grammy Award singer. He came, if you remember the name, James Ingram.
Oh, yes.
Uh, he, I by chance I met him on the track field at University of Hawaii, thinking he was a musician, come playing the piano. We talked story. I invited him to dinner, and I said, "Bring your family. I'll pick you up next tomorrow." And what happens that day when I go home? At the Pro Bowl at Aloha Stadium at halftime, they say, "Ladies and gentlemen, James Ingram." And I told my wife, "That's the guy I
That's the guy.
invited to do it. You don't know who he is?" I said, "No, Roy, you teach his songs. You teach all his songs." I didn't even know. I told him the next day, and he laughed. We went out to dinner. There's more to this story, but I won't say it because it's a long story, but it's an incredible story. But at that dinner, he asked me, "What do you do?" And I told him about our ukulele festival. He looks at his road manager and he says, "What are we doing? Da 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 date." And he says, "Oh, you're not going. You're free that week." He says, "Roy, I'll come, and you don't have to pay me. I'll come and play and be in your festival." He came 6 times. Six
Wow.
times he came to Hawaii, and he sang his gigantic hits like "Just Once." How do you keep the music playing? That famous song "Somewhere Out There." You know, just an amazing guy. Yeah, he passed away in, I believe, 2019. It was
Right.
heartbreaking because we became the best of friends. My wife and I, he and his wife became best of friends. And I remember one incident. We were in New York. He was talking to the ambassadors of African countries after his performance. As they came up to talk to him, he said, "Just a minute." He excused himself, walked away from them, grabbed me and my wife, Kathy, brought me right next to him, and he introduced these ambassadors to Kathy and I. And now he said, "Please sit and we can talk." What a class man. What an
Wow.
amazing man.
Whew.
That's how he was. Yeah,
Well,
amazing.
thank you for
Yeah.
sharing that story. Oh my goodness, get us chicken skin that.
Mm.
Here's a picture of you and your boss, Roy. This is your beautiful wife, Kathy, at on the festivals there, and this also is a quilt. Tell us about this quilt that was made here, Roy.
What you're seeing there is every year my wife had this idea to have an ukulele festival where all the students could wear the same T-shirt, and we could have it on sale to raise money because we established a nonprofit organization called Ukulele Festival Hawaii in 2004. And so every year, you see that lady on the right in the red. Her name is Sophie Reno, and she asked for all the T-shirts, and she made that into a beautiful quilt and surprised us this year when we went to Waikoloa to perform at a free event for the hotels, sponsored by the hotel in Daniakaka. That quilt represents all the years of the ukulele festival. So
Wow.
it was so touching to receive that. It was
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah. Tell us
Mhm.
about these children here, Roy.
Oh,
Look at them.
this is what the festival was all about.
Hmm.
And when I would approach the entertainers, I would tell the entertainers, could you please perform in the ukulele festival? But please understand, you're just a supporting cast. The headliners of the show will be all these young children to show the world that everyone can play the ukulele. And they all agreed. I said, all you have to do is come play 2 or 3 songs and then walk off the stage and give the stage back to the kids. And I never had a performer tell me like, oh, I want to play 5 songs or I want, because there were thousands of people there. It was a ready-made audience when they came. That place was packed with people, but they understand the mission. It wasn't about them. It was about all these children that love the ukulele. And they graciously, most would just play 2 songs and then leave the stage and let the kids take over again. That was our mission, to focus on laughter, love, and hope. Focus on the children. Let the children for this day be like the shining stars of the Ukulele Festival. And all these great entertainers are just a supporting cast. That was the beauty, I think, of our event. And it was free, always free. Mhm.
I heard you say laughter, love, and hope.
Yes,
Wow,
that
beautiful.
is a mission statement of our Ukulele Festival, to bring laughter, love, and hope through the music of the ukulele to the state of Hawaii and throughout the world. And I believe that's what the ukulele is accomplishing. Because when you put that ukulele in your hands, no matter if you're a beginner and you learn how to strum C, F, and G7, those 3 chords can take you so far. And you know that, right, Kamaka? It's just 3 chords.
Yeah.
What I was able to do in workshops when I used to have 300 people in the audience, the beautiful thing is I could just watch them for 5 seconds and I could correct them already. It was just simple corrections that I could help people become just like trying to learn to play and make everything transition smooth. And I guess it's because of my 50 something years of teaching. You learn every little detail of the fingering, where to hold the ukulele, where this hand is supposed to be. And that is critical, you know. I mean, when I do workshops, that's what I show. But that's the beauty of it, Kamaka. That's why the ukulele, oh, you just strum 3 chords, you can do so much on the ukulele.
Very true.
Yeah.
Well, if you just joined us, we're talking to Roy Sakuma from his home on Oahu. We're going to take a little bit of break and we'll come back. And when we come back, uh, I want to show a little video and have Roy respond to this and talk about this in just a moment. We'll be right back on the Aloha Friday with the Sandwich Island Social Network. And our guest this day is Roy Sakuma. We'll be right back.
ask me who I am, here's what I say. I am what I am. I'll be what I'll be. Look, can't you see that it's me, all of me? I am what I am. I'll be what I'll be. Look, can't you see that it's me? Now myself I'd like to be reaching out, feeling free, doing good where I can, with this in my heart. I am what I am. I'll be what I'll be. Look, can't you see that it's me, all of me? I am what I am. I'll be what I'll be. Look, can't you see that it's me? See them going their own way, see them doing their own thing. They begin to understand, now they sing with me. I am what I am. I'll be what I'll be. Look, can't you see that it's me, all of me? I am what I am. I'll be what I'll be. Look, can't you see that it's me? Look, can't you see that it's me? Look, can't you see that it's me?
That is a song called I Am That I Am. It's a song called I Am That I Am, written by Roy Sakuma. That was Kama Hopkins, Herb Ota Jr., Asa Young, and Jake Swimbukuro doing your song. Roy, when you hear that song and you think of that song, tell us the story.
Well, the words actually it's I am what I am, and what it I was a young boy. I think I was about this was just before the ukulele festival. So I was 23, and I never sing. And I was in the backyard, and for those of you that know my life story, I always thought of leaving the planet early because of all my struggles. But in this rare moment when I picked up my ukulele where I normally play and pick, I started singing for the first time. That song just flowed out of my heart. The words just came out of me. I didn't have to think. I just started playing the ukulele and singing I am what I am and singing that verse, that first verse. And it touched me that I ran into the house and I wrote it down on manuscript paper and sent it into Library of Congress because I started to write music. And that song was actually a saving grace for me because, interestingly, that song has helped thousands and thousands of kids as well as parents, help them through struggles. Because if you listen to those words clearly, I mean, it's really saying that we're all okay. I asked the kids in schools after I finished speaking, what does the words mean to you? And they raise their hand and they'll say, it means that we're okay. It means that, we're special. And the list goes on and on. There's no wrong word. But that song really helped me. And I can see how it helps so many kids today when we teach that song. Or even when I go to the grocery store, to the bank, they'll say, Roy, we sing that song all the time.
Aw.
It has a very special meaning. And my friend told me in 1990, I believe, he says, Roy, you didn't write the song. And I said, I did. I wrote in the background of the scene. He said, no, Roy, you didn't write it. I said, what do you mean? He says, that was from divine intervention. And I never
Ooh.
understood what he meant by that for years and years. Then I understood years later that song was almost like a blessing coming to me to help me, that helped me through all the struggles in my life. And there is a book that I wrote on this. It's called I Am What I Am, but I never released it because there's 3 versions of it. But someday I hope to release it. Or my wife wants me to put a compilation of songs together that I wrote. I think I have about 80 songs. But I Am What I Am, I Am What I Am probably stands out at the top of all those songs. Yeah, so hopefully someday I'll come out with something like that. Mhm.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness, that's beautiful. Let me catch up really quickly on some of the comments of our ohana coming in. Here is Jean Atwater Williams. Great to see you, Roy. Thanks for your live stream, Kamaka. Oh, you're welcome. We're just so blessed to be here with Roy at this time and sharing his mo'olelo, sharing his stories. My goodness. Auntie Hetty says, we have James Ingram signed CD from that ukulele festival. Oh, wow. That's amazing. Here is my buddy Nate Jones, who's a production assistant for the Aloha Friday show, and he is my stability here at the show. He books all of our guests and interacts and troubleshoots. In fact, he was on the phone with you, I think, before we started. Aloha, Roy. Good to see you. Mahalo for coming on the show, and thank you, Nate, for all that you do there, my brother. Appreciate you very much. And let's see. Auntie Hetty says, I love that the focus is on the children. That's magical. And I want to talk a little bit more about that in just a moment here, because sure is that. And here's Keone saying, wonderful show. You're welcome. Thank you so much. Let me see. This is 951 Ukulele. This is a brand new ukulele shop that opened up in Corona, California. Gary Gotori, who's an ukulele player, and his shop is 951 Ukulele. We go down and we hang out in Corona. And those in the Inland Empire, if you're in that area of California, look up Gary Gotori and 951 Ukulele. That's our brother over there. And Auntie Hetty says, I just love the theme, I am what I am. So, Roy, I want to share a picture right over here with a gentleman, he is not only very tall, either that who he's standing he's standing on a box, but he is one of the directors at the FBI here. Were you wanted by the FBI? How did you? Tell us the story of how it led this picture. What led to this picture, Roy? That's what I'm curious about.
Well, the FBI, I think it was the year 2013, they started helping about 125 kids from an area that many of the kids of this area got into drugs, into gangs, got kicked out of school, or got into trouble fighting, ended up in reformatory. And they heard about my talks in schools that I would go and volunteer and speak to kids. And they said, can I help them and speak to these kids? Because they said at that time the graduation rate for the kids to stay in this program was 55%. They had other speakers, but for some reason, the kids wouldn't last through the year. So I was happy to help them. So I went to help them and I started speaking to the kids. And by the time I finished talking, so many of these high school kids would be in tears, and they'd come up and they want a hug. I would hug them. and I would say I love you, and they would love me back, and it was so touching. Well, in the year 2017, I was supposed to speak at the school assembly, but it was just a reason to get me there. It was really a surprise, and they told me they were sending me to Washington D.C. to receive an award from that gentleman who is the FBI director, James Comey at that time. So I flew to Washington, and then I found out my wife and I went there. We went into FBI quarters, which is off limits to the public, but we got that award in there. And that's when they told me that thanks for supporting the FBI, that the graduation rate went from 55% to 98%. And the 2% that didn't graduate was because they were Pacific Islanders. Because English wasn't their first language, they had to stay to summer to graduate. And so from that story, I would get so many calls. What is the key to helping kids? And so for all of you out there that listen, I'll just share this because there's so much to share. In fact, if I may say this, Kamaka, I just received an email about a week and a half ago. It was from the World Forgiveness Project, and they've invited me to speak next year, February 2024, on forgiveness. What is it that I share that helps kids forgive others? And basically what it is all I needed to do in these assemblies with all the kids, I think I focus on sharing with them why we hurt, and why we hurt others. And when I put it together in a story form about my life, they were able to connect, and that's why so many kids would cry it's because they were letting go of all this pain they were holding. And I've received thousands of letters from kids, and that's why Reader's Digest reached out to me, and they actually wrote a story on I Am What I Am and the Ukulele Festival. But the pandemic hit in 2020, and the story never was released. And I guess it's okay, but it was the journey of how I Am What I Am was helping so many kids. So I'm writing a book on this. I actually finished it, but I want to redo it again. And I'm trying to find the right person to edit my words without taking away my words, because it's what I share in school that has helped the kids understand their problems. And I've had letters from the bulls of the school who said, after you talked to me, I went and I sought all my victims and I apologized. And many are now my friends. And the list goes on and on. It was just sharing with them. And I always tell people, I don't tell kids because they hear that all their life. So I rather share with them and let them feel. I found this: when you speak to kids from love, for me anyway, if I come from a place of love first, it tends to reach them. But I don't think I have the intellectual mind, because if I come from a mind, like one kid wrote to me, he says, Roy, I love your message of lead with your heart. You give yourself a head start. Because if you lead with your mind, you can leave yourself behind. and those words, it has some truth to that, because now we're talking from our mind rather than from our heart. There is a different connection when you come from your heart. It's very powerful when it comes from love. Yeah. That's how I received the award. And I'm still speaking in schools. I just spoke. And this summer, I'll be speaking at some faculties of teachers. So I'm looking forward to that too. Thanks for bringing that up, because it is my passion to help. To help. Yes. But
I'm seldom at a loss for words, but I'm choking up over here. That's a beautiful story there, my friend.
no, thank you.
Thanks for sharing that. Oh my goodness! And and you have received so many acknowledgments of your work. Here is the at the Nahoku's. You received a Lifetime Achievement Award for your work. There you are accepting that lifetime achievement in recognition for the work that you've done above and beyond ukulele, and reaching out for, you know, it's the youngsters. That's our future, right? The next generation. They are the ones
Yes.
that, yes, and leading from the heart. I love that. Quite a few of our ohana are reaching out over here. Let me see. Here we have. Oh, here's Claire. She's going. I played along with "I Am What I Am." So much fun. and uh, and Tiheri is saying, "I am waiting for your book to be published. You reach the kids because you speak the truth from your heart." Oh my.
Oh, thank you. Thank
That's
you.
that's beautiful, and I agree. Amen. And here's Nancy saying, "Wow, you are amazing, Roy. God bless you." And
Thank you.
I echo that as well. Teaching kids, helping kids, and identifying why we hurt others has a lot to do with their whole outlook on life and where they go and the choices they make. Yeah, the choices they
And
make in
that's
their
why
lives.
even when I teach my classes on Zoom, like I have students from all over the world that I teach on Zoom now, they can join me on Zoom. I always somehow sneak in these messages, not forcefully, but just very gently. I'll say something, and they'll say, "Oh, Roy, that was thank you for sharing that. I needed to hear that." So I get I get thankful when I share these things. So people ask me, "Well, how do you do that?" My wife does it. She just puts out an email, I guess, or they write to us. They're from California. We have a lot of students in California, China, Japan, all over, and I love teaching. I never get bored teaching. That's the beauty of the ukulele. And I also want to say this: the ukulele festival was successful for 52 years because we had our instructors, our volunteer sponsors, and I talked earlier about the musicians that donated their time. And behind the scene, doing everything, and you saw it earlier, Kamaka, is my wife Kathy. She has been the backbone of my life. There is a story about how there's a beautiful story in the book, hopefully, that you'll see someday, how her words changed the path of my whole life. And I have lived that life from those two words. And it's interesting. She said about 9 words. Okay. I stumbled upon those 9 words years later, exact same words. It was in the Bible. And I was just blown away. I was
Hmm.
blown away. And it's just something that touched me very much. But I just want to thank all your listeners too, Yakamaka, because there's so much to talk about. But you've hit on a lot of things that have touched my heart. So thank you, because it's been
Aw,
great.
thank
You
you, Roy. Thank you so much. It's like we talked about, folks can just Google your name and find out all the other stuff that's been done, but you're sharing from your heart, your passion, and your own story and your own mo'olelo and the ones that you have. That's the beauty of our conversations that we have with our guests on the Aloha Friday show, and you have made it very, very, very special, my friend. Thank you so much for taking time. Yeah, and um, as you said, Kathy sent me a plethora of big words, yeah, for public school. Um, sent me a plethora of pictures and video that we did not have an opportunity to get to. So I want to, as your schedule allows, as we move forward, if love to have you come back and share more stories with us. We love the stories. We love to talk about more about your passion in
I would
reaching out
love,
to our youth. Great.
I would love.
I know Nate
Mhm.
is listening in right now, so Nate's writing it down right now. Give Roy a call and see how we can have him come back and talk more because there's so much more that we can talk about, and I truly appreciate your time. Thank you to all of our ohana for jumping in today. They still want to share over here. Yeah. Brother Gary says, "Hana ho, let's do it again." He says, um, and and here is Heri and Heri cannot help but Waimaka. I know, right? I started to tear up over here. There's such a beautiful story. Oh man, um, and we and this is the good stuff that we enjoy hearing. And there's Lauren. She's saying, "Good to see you. Love you, Roy." She had sent me messages early that she was excited that you're going to be on the show. So
She's a
thank you so
former
much.
super baby. Yes.
Yeah, she's yeah, and she. Oh my goodness, she plays here in Southern California. We get a chance to see her every now and then, and she's such a sweetie over here. And C says mahalo, Kamaka and Roy, and many of our folks are saying mahalo. So we've come to the end of our time together, but we're going to do Hana Ho here, Roy. Hana Ho. So Roy goes back to our to our green room. Hope you're enjoying the sushi. You still get sushi left over there? I think there was still some.
Yes, there it is. Just a few bites.
Oh, big mahalo to Roy Sakuma. Such a beautiful man. So wonderful that we could share that time together. And thank all of you for dropping in and sharing your part of your day with us here on the Aloha Friday show. It is always a pleasure to have our friends join us, and we love talking story on the Aloha Friday show. My name is Kamaka Brown, and God bless. You guys have a great week. Next week, Friday, is Kermit Apio, a Hawaiian who lives in Seattle, a funny man. He's been all over the country with his comedy, and you're going to enjoy Kermit Apio on Friday. And by the way, on Tuesday, here's a secret. On Tuesday, there's an acoustic Samoan group called Faiva with Teeny Gray and two of his friends. They've just released a brand new project, and we're going to talk with them in just a couple of days on Tuesday. So if you're around on Tuesday, we're going to have Talk Story Tuesday at 12 noon with the group called Faiva. Going to be good fun. Until then, we'll see you. Ohui ho. God bless. Talk to you soon.